I'm 27, in the middle of my first run of summer stock shows. I left a dance company 6 months ago, and now I'm doing what I really want to do, musical theater. We're rehearsing one show during the day and doing a completely different show at night. I don't even know how my brain is doing this, but I think it's wonderful. This week we're doing La Cage aux Faux in the evenings, a show about family, pretending, acceptance, and ultimately about loving who we are. I've sat down in front of a mirror since I was 12 years old to do my own makeup before going on a stage for a show. But tonight, it feels different. Art seems to imitate life as I nervously sit here about to transform myself and pretend to be a woman, while my dad is at this very moment picking up his tickets at the box office to see the show with his wife. My parents divorced a decade ago, but he hasn't seen me perform since then. Not that I didn't ask. He didn't really get my foray into modern dance and was busy whenever I let him know I was performing. So it's been a little strain between us. Will I be seen as a monster or accepted for who I am? I don't know, but these eyebrows aren't going to disappear by themselves. What's ironic is that only a few years ago I left a dance company because they were going to do La Cage with a local theater. I was going to do company rehearsals during the day and rehearse a show at night. In heels, no less. And for no additional pay. I wasn't having it. But what really scared me was allowing myself, others, to see me in the heels and the dresses and the wigs and the makeup. Every cell in me screamed, no way. It was unacceptable. I could not let myself be seen as feminine. Why was that not okay? It was still me either way, right? When I was very young, my sister and I played dress-up with all the castaway garments from my mom, bouncing crinoline skirts, pointy-toed pumps, and silky slips. Hours were filled playing in the basement out of my mom's way, free to be whatever we wanted. Throw in some Barbie doll adventures and we never got bored. Somewhere in there, though, G.I. Joe got introduced to Barbie. Then Barbie started having feelings for G.I. Joe. And I started having feelings for a bearded man with a broad plastic chest. It was also introduced to me that boys don't do or feel those things, ever. One day the clothes hamper was gone. I stitched it together in my head. Everything I was doing, from draping myself in mom's clothes to designing Barbie's day with G.I. Joe, was wrong. Me being me. It scared my mom and didn't fit into the mold of how I was expected to behave. So, G.I. Joe was now joined by Hot Wheels, comic books, and a day camp for boys, building model airplanes and dissecting frogs. I assembled a different me with these new accepted pieces, because then I would be something people, well, my dad, would love, right? An aortic curtain in my makeup is still non-existent. I layer on foundation disguising any male traces, which isn't too difficult as I barely shave, puberty seemingly on the deferred track. The clock's ticking and I'm getting nervous. I grab the eyeliner and eyelashes. My hands begin to tremble a little. If I mess this up now, I'll look like I climbed out of the grave. And if my eyelashes are on cockeyed, I'll likely walk into a set piece. I slip on my wig pin-up ringlets to resemble D'Artagnan, if he were a courtesan. I pull on my Dye Me Now prom pumps, a special order for me as my feet are too wide for regular character shoes. And finally, I slip on the costumes from the original show, which still smell like the year they were first worn. In spite of my nerves, the parts are put together, and I'm no longer recognizable as me looking back at me. Frankenstein's monster, I chuckle. Or in my case, the bride of Frankenstein. Under my breath, I utter, "She lives!" As I stand for a final review in the mirror, certainly serviceable to an audience 100 feet away from me. What's my dad going to say when he sees me like this? He had so little to say when I modeled my black and white tiger print jazz pants and multiple bandanas I was planning to wear for the freshman talent show. Interesting, dropped from him before he took another toke from his cigar. exhaled smoke across the room, asked me to make another whiskey neat, and turned back to the Monday night football bonanza. This whole thing may turn out to be the beginning of the end for us. I mean, if I'm lucky, he won't recognize me. Places is called. Whew, it's showtime. The cast scurries to the stage. I find my marks on the set where I stand, while the others find their starting positions. Beyond the curtain, I hear the audience settling into their seats with a, "How long is the first act? Do I have time to go to the bathroom?" popping up here and there. I try to remember where my dad's tickets are. Stage right? Well, maybe if I change the choreography to not be on that side of the stage, he won't see me. As a kid, I desperately wanted him to see me. We were building an addition onto the house, a room for the swordfish he caught in Florida. All the neighborhood dads were there helping out, digging, hammering, and assembling. I put on my kid work boots and a baseball cap, made my way to the yard, and stood proudly right in front of my dad. "What can I do, Dad? I want to help." I don't think he even looked up, but rather lobbed over his shoulder, "Go grab us some water. Oh, and send your brother back here. I really need his help." I hear applause break out, which means the conductor is stepping into the orchestra pit, and I snap into the present. The overture starts, then finishes. The opening numbers, first chords hang in the air as the curtain goes up. A small gasp from the audience, and tittering applause as they take in the sequin and feather-gowned creatures on the stage. Whew, my heart's racing, thinking about the first lyrics soon to come out of my mouth and what they now mean to me. When my dad... I never said them out loud. It always felt as if I would lose him forever, and that's too big of a risk. Ooh, the thought of that brings me to the verge of tears, but I pull it together, as I will not ruin this hour-long makeup job. Then we sing, "We are what we are, and what we are is an illusion. We face life, though it's sometimes sweet and sometimes bitter. Face life, and you'll love us once you know us better. We are what we are." The rest of the number in the show is a blur of costume changes, wiping off all the makeup to look like men, only to put the makeup back on again to look like women. Honestly, by the end of the show, we looked like the cast of Cats, if they had been hosed down. And after the show, I scrape off what's left of my makeup, put the wig back on its head, and slip into street clothes. Immediately, my thoughts ramp up with, did he like it? Did he stay until the end? Did he even come at all? There was that one spring dance recital, what was I, 12 maybe? He promised he would be back in time from his work trip to see the show, but once again, he didn't make it. As I dread walking out to the stage door, it just builds, and somewhere inside me I hear, it doesn't matter what he thinks. Whatever pieces I put together, it's always going to be me. And I'm in good company. I take a deep breath, and I step through the stage door. First, I see his wife's beaming face as she shouts, "Oh, you were the most beautiful one!" The two of us share a laugh. The knots of tension unwind from my shoulders, sort of. I turn to my dad for his assessment. Not one for many words, this guy, or emotions. The summer I worked at Disney World, my parents came to visit, even after discovering via reading my journals that I was gay. When my dad had a moment away from my mom, he, without looking at me, said, "Are you safe?" Caught off guard, I could only mumble, "Yeah, I'm not having sex, so yes, safe." I felt ashamed. We didn't say another word. Whew, were we about to relive that moment right now? He inhales, then I recognized you right away. How? I spent an hour on that makeup. I hid every trace of myself. He saw me. You look pretty damn good as a woman. Wow. That was a whole sentence. I didn't know what to say. I also think you get your legs from my side of the family. He smiles, throws a wink, and says, "Let's go get some dessert."